every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides on political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good evening and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Ebunlomo Adekunle. In a major story, the Independent National Electoral Commission gives reasons for postponing the 2015 general elections by 6 weeks. Also in this program, President Goodluck Jonathan urges all Nigerians and stakeholders to accept the shift in the date of the 2015 general elections in good faith. The All Progressives Congress presidential candidate, Muhammadu Buhari, urges his supporters and all Nigerians to remain calm but resolute in the face of the postponement of the 2015 general elections. Outside Nigeria, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon calls for a reversal of the coup in Yemen and the restoration Mansour Hadi as the country's president. After more than a 7-hour wait, the Independent National Electoral Commission has finally moved forward the dates for the 2015 elections. Briefing journalists after concluding series of meetings in Abuja, INEC Chairman Atahiru Jega disclosed the presidential elections will hold March 28th, while governorship polls will take place April 11th. Basi Aye now reports on the endless wait at the INEC headquarters.
It was a conference that should have started at 5 p.m. local time, with the intent of informing Nigerians and indeed the international community if elections will hold as scheduled in February. But the series of stakeholders meeting went on for much longer than anticipated, in view of the critical nature of the decision expected. True to type, local and foreign media thronged the INEC headquarters in their numbers, each hoping to be the first to break the news. While some were there a lot earlier, others came in later. In all, everyone took part in the waiting game. The clock was ticking away, and at about 8 p.m., an INEC official brought assurance of a 9 p.m. announcement amidst all sorts of speculations.
We are hoping that by 9 o'clock, the Honorable Chairman should be able to address you. So please, I'm craving your indulgence to exercise patience.
And then refreshments went round the room. Still, journalists were impatient with a couple of false alarms at various times. Finally, with few minutes to 11 p.m., the INEC chairman appeared with confirmation of the speculations that had been on. He explained that the decision was a difficult choice, but one that had to be considered.
INEC, not being a security agency that could by itself guarantee protection for personnel and materials, as well as voters during elections or even observers, the Commission cannot lightly waive off the advice by the nation's security chiefs. The Commission is specifically concerned about the security of our ad hoc staff, the young men and women of the NYSC and students of tertiary education, who constitute at least 600,000 young men and women that we are going to use for this election. Together with our regular staff, not to talk of voters, election observers, as well as election materials, which have been painstakingly acquired over the last 1.5 years. This concern is limited not just to the areas in the northeast part of Nigeria experiencing insurgency. The risk of deploying young men and women and calling people to exercise their democratic rights in a situation where their security cannot be guaranteed is a most enormous responsibility.
Jaga also allayed fears that the shift would incur additional expenses. He also addressed speculations on his resignation. Now that the elections have been moved forward, many believe that there would be more time for the electoral umpire to tidy up its arrangements. But many analysts are wondering whether the security concerns that forced the shift would be resolved in the next 6 weeks. Basia Ye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
In reaction to this, President Goodluck Jonathan has appealed to all stakeholders to accept the shift in the dates of the general elections as announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission on Saturday in good faith. He also assured them that despite the change in dates of the elections, he remained committed to the sanctity of May 29, 2015 as the terminal date of his 4-year first term. Jonathan made this known in a statement by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ruben Abati. Jonathan said that rather than trading blames and making statements that are capable of overheating the polity, stakeholders must show understanding and support the Commission. He called on the international community, civil society and the electorate to continue to support his administration's commitment to free, fair and credible elections. Justifying the postponement, Jonathan said INEC has a responsibility to conduct credible elections in which every Nigerian of voting age is given the opportunity to exercise the civic right without any form of hindrance. The People's Democratic Party presidential team has hailed INEC's decision to postpone the elections. The party's campaign organization said in a statement issued in Abuja that it was in national interest. Although INEC cited security reasons, spokesman for the campaign team Femi Fanikayode said it showed that the commission was not fully prepared. PDP claimed that as at February 7th, only about 34% of eligible voters had collected their permanent voter cards and accused the All Progressives Congress of being insensitive to their plight. It also said the opposition party was bent on putting the country on the path of chaos by insisting on elections on February 14th. Former Governor of Ogun State, Benga Daniel, says he is pleased with the decision of the Independent National Electoral Commission to postpone the general elections. Daniel, while speaking at the inauguration of senatorial, federal, state and wards committees and presentation of vehicles and electric bicycles to them to campaign for the re-election of President Goodluck Jonathan, urged all coordinators at each level to perform their duties well. He also says though the primaries of the party in the state were not in tandem with its principles, all stakeholders must work for the party. In her remarks, his former deputy Salmot Badru called for the support for the president's re-election.
We have recognized senatorial, federal constituency, state constituency, ward coordinators. It is now time for you to go and prove your mettle, to go and do what you have to do from ward to ward, from polling booth to polling booth.
We all have a role to play, and that has been my own plea since after the unification rally, that every hand must be on deck, that everybody must be given the opportunity to also prove themselves and add value to the success of the president's election.
Meanwhile, the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Chief John Odige Oyegu, has described the shift in the dates of the elections as a setback for democracy. Oyego said in a statement that the commission claimed it did this because the security agencies claimed that they needed time to fight the insurgency in the northeast region of the country. But he described the decision as a major setback for Nigeria's democracy and added that the party is having an emergency session to study its implications and will inform Nigerians of its decision in the next few days. He also urged members of the party to remain calm and desist from violence or provocation and any activity that will compound the already unfortunate development. He assured all stakeholders the party would not abandon its commitments to change and will sustain the struggle to establish a new Nigeria. Nigeria's main opposition party, the All Progressives Congress, wants its supporters to remain calm and not take laws into their hands as a result of the shift in the date of the election. It also urged party faithful to continue to show trust in the system in spite of their disappointment and frustration at the decision to postpone the elections. APC presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari made this appeal at a news conference after several hours of consultation with party leaders in Abuja.
And rise above all provocations. We must continue to trust in the entire democratic process and in INEC, which has been brought under so much pressure in the last few days. Our trust can only serve to encourage the electoral body to remain steadfast and remain committed to the rule of law. I wish to state strongly that our party will not tolerate any further interference in the electoral process. The rescheduled elections of 28th March and April 11, 2015 must be sacrosanct.
Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola says the inability of the federal government to guarantee adequate security for February polls is enough excuse for Nigerians to vote against the People's Democratic Party during the rescheduled election. Fashola stated this while addressing members of the Ariwa community in Lagos. Abiola Oluwole, who was at the Oneko Stadium, venue of the event, filed in this report presented from our studio.
If the security of personnel, voters, election observers, and election materials cannot be guaranteed, the life of innocent young men and women, as well as prospects for free, fair, credible, and peaceful elections would be greatly jeopardized.
The announcement of shifting the dates of the 2015 general elections by the chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission, Tahiru Jega, citing security challenges, has now reduced political activities in Lagos. Addressing residents of northern extraction at a rally to drum up support for the APC presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari and state governorship candidate Akinwumi Ambode, Babatunde Fashola called on them to be steadfast in the quest to ensure victory for the party at the polls.
We don't be ready for election on Saturday, not be so. They no fit secure. And because of that, the guy say, he no be security now, he be election. Bring security, make we go do election. They remove security. Not be so. Now, our presidential candidate, you now know say don't sign peace accord, say no violence. Not be so. Who now won't vote for next week Saturday before? On March 28th, who now go vote for?
He cautioned against violence before, during, and after the polls.
They will taunt you, don't fight. Make una no fight. But make I tell you one thing, no. Peace no mean say make una no campaign. Make nobody come disturb una campaign. Peace no mean say if they slap you, make you turn the other cheek. No look for trouble, but defend yourself.
As Nigerians get set for the general elections, the prayer on the lips of many, both within and outside the country, is for a violence-free polls.
The All Progressives Congress senators in the National Assembly have condemned the decision of the Independent National Electoral Commission to postpone the February 14th and 28th elections. A statement by the group's spokesperson Babafemi Ojudu, who represents Ekiti Central in the upper chamber, described the postponement as a teleguided plot by the People's Democratic Party to derail democracy. The group says the decision has raised a big credibility question on INEC and the forthcoming elections. He added that the PDP leadership, in collaboration with INEC, has put Nigeria in extremely bad light among the Committee of Nations. Ojudu added that the postponement is a diversionary tactic which has undermined the aspirations of Nigerians and deems the hope for change in a country that in the past has seen bitter upheavals due to similar partisan posture of the election umpire. He alleged that the INEC has placed itself above the interests of the people, adding that the action of the electoral body is contrary to the decision of the Council of States. He said INEC and the PDP leadership did not consult the opposition, a major stakeholder in the political process, describing the action as a unilateral decision of INEC. It's the CoreTV Primetime News. We'll be back with more stories on the 2015 elections after this timeout. Don't go away.
Gubernatorial election is here again. The Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, NIPR, Lagos State Chapter presents Lagos Decides 2015. This is a platform designed to give equal opportunity to all the candidates vying for the post of governor in Lagos State. All candidates are hereby invited to present their respective manifestos to its select audience comprising of PR practitioners, media, and other prominent professionals. Lagos Decides 2015 comes up on Wednesday, 11 February 2015. Time, 11 a.m. Venue, LCCI Event Center, CBD, Alausa Ikeja. Admission is strictly by invitation. For sponsorship details and advert placement, call Joe on 0802 3924 913 or Jola on 0802 366 3429. Proudly supported by MITV, Star FM, 101.5, Galaxy Television, Core TV, Cool TV, Wazobia TV, Nigeria Info, and Frontiers Consulting. The debate will be broadcast and streamed live. NIPR, deepening democratic values.
Thank you for being there, and if you're just joining us, it's the CoreTV Primetime News, and here is a reminder of the major stories. The Independent National Electoral Commission gives reasons for postponing the 2015 general elections by 6 weeks. President Goodluck Jonathan urges all Nigerians and stakeholders to accept the shift in the date of the 2015 general elections. The All Progressives Congress presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari urges his supporters and all Nigerians to remain calm but resolute in the face of the postponement of the 2015 general elections. And for more news and other information, you can visit a social media platform. On Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle @CoreTV News NG. And on YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space, then news. The People's Democratic Party has described the criticism by the All Progressives Congress on President Goodluck Jonathan's achievement in the railway sector as laughable. The party insists that only railway hoax in present-day Nigeria was perpetrated by Rotimi Amechi, an APC governor. In a statement released in Abuja, PDP's campaign team said the attack showed that President Goodluck Jonathan has completely overwhelmed the APC with the quality of his achievements in rail and other sectors of the economy. Spokesman for the campaign organization, Femi Fani-Kayode, noted that until Jonathan's intervention, the railways had been in a poor state since the 1980s. He said rather than question the railway achievements of President Jonathan, APC should explain why rail projects in Rivers and Lagos states have failed to take off in spite of billions of naira expenditure. The People's Democratic Party plans to intensify its presidential campaign now that general elections have been shifted to March 28th and April 11th. It also said it will continue its bid to showcase what it insists is the weakness of the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari. PDP's presidential campaign team says the next stage of the campaign will be all-encompassing and robust with a view to boosting the chances of the party's candidates at all levels. Spokesman for the campaign organization, Femi Fani-Kayode, said at a news conference in Abuja that the party also expects INEC to do all in its capacity to ensure prompt and equitable distribution of permanent voter cards. He explained that as at the time INEC announced the shift in election date, only 34% of eligible voters had been able to access their permanent voter cards. Fani-Kayode noted that PDP is not comfortable with a situation where a part of the country has a low percentage rate of PVC distribution and collection, while the other part of the country has recorded between 80 and 98% collection. A federal high court in Abuja has ordered that President Goodluck Jonathan be served with court documents in a fresh suit seeking to disqualify him from seeking re-election in the forthcoming polls. There are two pending suits seeking Jonathan's disqualification from participating in the presidential election, now rescheduled to hold on March 28th before Justice Ahmed Mohammed of the Federal High Court, Abuja. Justice Mohammed, to whom the fresh suit was assigned, on Friday granted an ex parte order directing the service of the court papers on Jonathan. The judge ordered that court papers be served on the president either through the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation or the Attorney General of the Federation. The judge made order for substituted service on President Jonathan following the complaint of the plaintiff, Ikem Jika, in his ex parte application that it is impossible to effect personal service on the president, who resides in the well-fortified Aso Rock Villa, Abuja. The president, the Independent National Electoral Commission and the People's Democratic Party are the defendants in the suit. Ikem Jikas asked the court in a suit marked FHC/ABJ/CS/112/135 of the Constitution. Jonathan is qualified to contest this year's presidential election. The plaintiff argued that Jonathan's second term in office will end on May 29th, 2015 because Section 135, subsection 2B of the Constitution determines the tenure of the office of the country's president, did not make any provision for a vice president to complete the unexpired tenure of office or unexpired term of office of a deceased president. Catholic women have declared support for Kaduna State Governor Mukhtar Yero of the People's Democratic Party ahead of the forthcoming elections. They declared their support for the governor at the annual Women Conference of the Catholic Women's Society of the Kafanchan Diocese at Saminaka in Lere local government area. Chaplain of the diocese, Reverend Henry Bowman, said the decision to support Governor Yero is based on the prevailing peaceful atmosphere in most parts of the state. Bowman noted that the governor has shown enough commitments to ensuring that Christians in the state practice their religion in a free and secure environment. Responding to the show of support, Governor Yero pledged his administration's readiness to be fair to all citizens, irrespective of perceived differences. Tension is brewing in the fold of the People's Democratic Party in Bayelsa State over a plot to remove its chairman, Sam Inokoba, due to his alleged involvement in the diversion of 70 million naira presidential campaign fund. The fund, it was learned, was allegedly provided by the Minister of Petroleum Resources, Dizani Alison Madueke, to support the party towards hosting President Goodluck Jonathan's campaign rally in Yenegua last Friday. Those plotting Inokoba's removal accused him of allegedly diverting 40 million naira out of the 70 million naira provided for the party. Those calling for the removal of the party chairman attributed his collapse during the presidential rally to the supposed pressure created over the alleged fund diversion. The discovery that the amount given to the party was 70 million naira and not 40 million naira came to light during the PDP presidential rally, which was attended by Dezani. As the alleged audio recording of some PDP chieftains on how the Ekiti governorship election was rigged continues to generate reactions from Nigerians, Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola says such action, if it is indeed true, shows the desperation of the People's Democratic Party to win the elections at all costs. Fashola, who stated this at State Senior Grammar School Surulere after collecting his permanent voter cards, says Nigerians should be wary of the kind of people they elect into position of authority.
The examples of some of the kind of base desperation for power that you can never see. So while ordinary Nigerians are struggling in the sun, trying to collect their PVCs, trying to vote, you see what they are doing at night. You see how seriously that party that they represent takes your vote and your efforts and your sacrifice for democracy. So, and I'm sure now Nigerians are getting wiser.
Marshall also noted that rather than reducing the momentum of the APC campaign, the 6 weeks postponement of the election by INEC will rather increase it.
The reality is that INEC was ambushed by the PDP and the federal government. And I think Nigerians must be disappointed, but I use this opportunity again to appeal to Nigerians to remain calm, especially to the supporters, sympathizers and members of the APC. This is just a matter of time, and the momentum for change is already on, and the momentum is the Nigerian people's momentum.
Foremost Bayelsa monarch and deputy chairman of the Bayelsa State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, Serena Dokubo Spiff, has warned those plotting to unseat Governor Saraki Dixon to desist from the sinister plot. Spiff warned that such plot to unseat Dixon will be resisted vehemently by the people, and those behind the plan would incur the wrath of the people. The warning came just as a group, Grassroots Vanguard for Dixon, called on politicians in Bayelsa rooting for the governorship election in 2016 to wait until Dixon completes his second term. Coordinator GVD Bello Bina expressed satisfaction at the level of human and infrastructural development in the state under the Dixon's administration. Continuing, Spiff, a legal practitioner who spoke under the auspices of Brass Restoration Actualization Vanguard Organization at a news conference in Yenegua, Bayelsa State capital, says there may be some disgruntled people, but it is not unusual. Suspected gunmen thought to be Fulani herdsmen on Saturday kidnapped Dariye Defwan, the 87-year-old father of the former Plateau State Governor Joshua Dariye. A police source said gunmen, numbering about 9, stormed the home of the octogenarian in the Mushere area of Bokos in Bokos local government area at about 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. They were said to have shot sporadically to scare people away before whisking away their victim on a motorcycle in the direction of Wamba in neighboring Nasarawa State. A family source said the kidnappers are yet to make any contact with the family, as Dariye, who is a serving senator coordinator representing Plateau Central, is said to be making efforts to rescue his father. Police Public Relations Officer in the state, Emmanuel Abu, confirmed the incident but added that the police are in hot pursuit of the kidnappers. He added that the police are combing the entire area, while spent bullet shells have also been picked up by investigators to ascertain the caliber of weapons used in the operation. We'll go on another break now and we'll return with business, sports and stories from outside Nigeria. Please stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
To business, the Director General of the Bureau of Public Enterprises, Benjamin Dickey, said the Bureau will soon begin the privatization process for the country's transport sector. This is contained in a statement by the Bureau's acting head, Public Communications, Alex Oko, in Abuja. According to the statements, the process will begin as soon as the necessary legal and regulatory frameworks are put in place. It said that once this was done, the transport sector would become a viable investment destination for investors from across the globe. It noted that the Bureau was concerned with the viability of the transport sector because it was crucial to the growth of the nation's economy. It lauded the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan for its support for the Bureau, which it said has ensured a measure of success in the power sector reform. The Managing Director, Ogun Guangdong Free Trade Zone, Igbesa, Ogun State, Jason Han, says the 16 industries that have become fully operational in the zone have offered 4,250 jobs to Nigerians. He made this disclosure when the Assistant Comptroller General of Customs and Zonal Coordinator, Lagos, Victor Bemudu, visited the zone. Han said the zone became operational 4 years ago, noted that the zone has also experienced steady growth since. The customs boss, Bemudu, while commending the Chinese investors for contributing to the development of the country through their direct foreign investment, also added that the revenue generated from the zone last year was 161.4 million naira, which is an improvement over that of 75.4 million naira in the previous year. And now to sport. The Technical Committee of the country's Football House will hold a meeting on Tuesday to discuss the future of the embattled Super Eagles handler Stephen Keshi, among other issues. The Nigerian Football Federation NFF Technical and Development Committee will meet on Tuesday, February 10th in Abuja to discuss issues relating to the future of the Super Eagles technical crew, among others pertinent issues. The Vice Chairman of the NFF's Technical and Development Committee, Ahmed Yusuf, says the committee has a lot of issues to address, but the most pressing of them is the fate of the senior national team handler. Yusuf hinted that the NFF does not want to join issues with anybody concerning the future of the technical crew headed by Stephen Keshi, whose contract expired at the end of the 2014 FIFA World Cup Brazil. He also says the committee will take a cursory look at the issue and take a firm stand on it, insisting that the body would not be intimidated to make hasty pronouncements which could put the future of the country's senior national team in jeopardy. Nigeria's Golden Eaglet will face Fazbear Football Academy at the Jinjinya Memorial Stadium in Sokoto on Wednesday in their last warm-up match before traveling to Niamey for the 2015 African Under-17 Championship. Coach Emmanuel Amunike says it is imperative to play a local club partly as a token of appreciation for their hospitality to the team by fans and football stakeholders since their arrival. On the road to Niger 2015, the Golden Eaglets are yet to lose after 25 domestic friendly matches and recently defeated Nigeria National League side Sokoto United 2-0 at the Ahmadu Bello Stadium in Kaduna on January 17. Therefore, prestige would be at stake when the two teams confront each other for obvious reasons. Fasbir FC, who are owned by Mohamed Nasir Saidu, the Assistant Director, Legislative Budget at the National Assembly, and Chairman of Sokoto Football Association, are a strong side, having lost just 3 times after 30 matches and were recently forced to a 2-2 draw by Sokoto United. Former Barcelona Technical Secretary Alberto Valentin says power games behind the scenes are responsible for his dismissal and that of Sporting Director Andoni Zubizarreta, and is now looking for a new challenge away from the pressure cooker of La Liga. Zubizarreta and Assistant Valentin, who oversaw scouting, were both sacked last month in the aftermath of a FIFA transfer ban for the following 2 windows over the breaching of rules on the signing of foreign under-18 players. Fan criticism had also been building over failures in the transfer market and their perceived involvement in the scandal over Neymar's real cost. Valentin denied Zubizarreta and those working in the technical department were at fault in the Neymar transfer, which was first investigated after a fan took legal action seeking clarity over the price. The club said they spent 57.1 million euros on the Brazil forward when he signed ahead of last season, and former President Sandro Rosell steadfastly repeated the figure. However, when Rosell was asked to give evidence after a judge decided to investigate possible tax evasion, he stood down last January but denied wrongdoing. Court proceedings are ongoing, but now the prosecution say Neymar's real cost was 94.9 million euros. Valentin arrived at Barcelona, having previously been technical secretary at Espanyol, along with Zubizarreta at the start of the Rosell presidency in 2010. He said they had to deal with a particular turbulent spell in the club's history. And now outside Nigeria, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has called for the restoration of power in Yemen of Western-backed President Brabo Mansour Hadi after Houthi militias seized power. The Houthi militia on Friday created a presidential council in a move they said was designed to fill a power vacuum and head off the threats from Al-Qaeda, which has a strong presence in East and South Yemen. The Six-Nation Gulf Cooperation Council, led by Sunni-dominated Saudi Arabia, on Saturday described the Houthi action as a coup. The militia overran Sana'a in September, then seized the presidential palace and key government buildings last month, prompting Hadi and Prime Minister Khalid Bahar to resign. Yemen has been riven by instability since the Arab Spring-inspired uprising that forced strongman Ali Abdullah Saleh from power in 2012.
The transition process.
Jordan says it has destroyed 56 targets in 3 days of strikes on the Islamic State group after it murdered one of its pilots and is determined to destroy the group itself. Air Force Chief Major General Mansour Al-Jabbar did not specify where the strikes took place, but told reporters the air raids launched since Thursday had destroyed 20% of its capabilities. Jordan has vowed to crush IS after the jihadists burned alive Kassabe, who was captured in December when his F-16 warplane crashed in Syria. 18 more targets, including ammunition and fuel depot and logistics centers, were hit on Friday. Foreign Minister Nasser Jadei told Fox News this week the Air Force had targeted IS in both Syria and Iraq, where the jihadists have proclaimed an Islamic caliphate in areas it controls. And that wraps it up for tonight. But before we go, a recap of our major stories. The Independent National Electoral Commission has given reasons for postponing the 2015 general elections by 6 weeks. We also reported that President Goodluck Jonathan urged all Nigerians and stakeholders to accept the shift in the date of the 2015 general elections in good faith. Finally, the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari has urged his supporters and all Nigerians to remain calm but resolute in the face of the postponement of the 2015 general elections. And that's it for tonight. Many thanks for watching, and on behalf of the entire news crew, I am Ebuloma Dekole wishing you a pleasant night rest.